9 most disrespectful defendants. This is Alan McCarthy. He is found guilty of threatening to kill another judge who ruled in an earlier child custody case involving McCarthy. The judge took away his kids. This sparked an outcry which can be heard in this recording. He threatens a pair of dispatchers.
Communications, Warhurst.
Yeah, I want to report a crime that's about to happen.
What do you mean a crime that's about to happen?
Yeah, there's about to be a crime that's going to happen if my kids don't come back to me, you stupid. Because your stupid judges don't want to bring people to courtrooms. I got a gun pointed at your building.
After spewing such venom, McCarthy was arrested by the cops. His impulsive behavior continued in the court with no end in sight. See what he has to say. But beware, the content is explicit.
Brought your dress today, you little prick. You wanna take my kids from me and act like that? You in that?
So, McCarthy is not in his mind, as you can clearly see. Even the cops are having a tough time controlling him. Now, we get to the sentencing part. He is sitting and has a book in his hands, but his barrage of F-words is still continuing. The judge has had enough. He orders the deputies to take him to the back room. McCarthy resists and is not standing. The deputy takes him away. On his back, he is still abusing the judge. McCarthy is now moved to another room to hear the proceedings through a one-way glass. He continues to create chaos. He was finally sentenced to 20 years in prison. This is Darrell Brooks, who is convicted of 6 counts of first-degree intentional homicide and injuring a dozen others after he drove his SUV into the Waukesha Christmas parade. Reports suggest that his speeds ranged from 30 to 40 miles per hour. It seemed intentional as he plowed through 68 different people. He kept going on until no more bodies were in his way. Authorities took him in for his heinous crime. Brooks decided to represent himself in court.
I would like to proceed in this matter for prior persona, not pro se.
Say that last part again.
I would like to proceed in this matter in pro per, not pro se.
During the trial, Brooks was countless times removed for interruptions and rage. It was shocking to see that when a witness gave testimony, Brooks started to laugh.
Can we pull up Exhibit 5 for the witness, please?
See here, he now makes fun of the district attorney for not pronouncing the word defendant right. He tries to be sarcastic. Clearly, he is disappointed. He stares at the judge, which makes the situation even worse. The 4-week trial was chaotic. After so many delays and interruptions, Brooks was found guilty of all 76 charges against him. He was given 6 life sentences and more than 700 additional years for his barbarity. This is Jeremy Christian. He is charged with murdering 2 people and critically injuring another on a crowded MAX train. It was a racial outburst towards 2 young girls. People came to stop him. You can clearly see that it turned into a quarrel. Christian soon stabbed and killed 2 men. He flees the crime scene as if nothing happened. Train passengers followed him, and the cops caught him after some time. Even more shocking was his reaction at the back of the police car.
Hey, free speech! Free speech done! Fucking die, patriots! Fucking kill yourselves if you hate free speech! Kill yourselves! Kill me! Fucking die! That's what a patriot is!
Christian's attitude in the court was deplorable. One of the victims gives a victim impact statement. She calls him a waste of breath and prays that Christian goes to hell, to which he replies, "See you there." He throws his mask away and starts to spew slang words. Shocking! After he's taken out of the courtroom, the judge sentences him to 2 consecutive life terms with 25 more years for his other convictions. Case closed. This is Bass Webb. He has been charged with running over 2 Bourbon County Jail employees. He is a nasty piece of work. His first court appearance surprised many. See here. The judge is planning to remove herself from this trial as she knows the 2 police officers. With no sign of remorse or guilt, Webb spits on the judge. You gotta be kidding me. Charge him. That's exactly what the judge said. She cleans her face and gives the marching orders for Webb. It appeared that Webb was a ruthless criminal. He also murdered his 2 ex-girlfriends, Bria Rooneywigs and Sabrina Vaughn, in Kentucky between 2003 and 2009. Surprisingly, when he was brought on trial for the murder of his second girlfriend, he did something which was insane. His head contained tattoos that listed people he wanted to execute. No mercy for such people. The judge sentenced him to life in prison for his inhumane acts. This is Bryce Rhodes, who is on trial for triple murder in Louisville, Kentucky. He began his criminal journey by taking the life of an innocent man, mistaking him for another person. His act was seen by 2 other individuals. Number 1, Larry Ordway, who was 14, and number 2, his brother Maurice Gordon. Bryce didn't want any witnesses to the crime, so he killed the 2 teenagers. But what was even more problematic was Rhodes' erratic behavior, which delayed the trial for years. He used to blow kisses to the people in the courtroom, including the family members of the victims, and even inappropriate hand gestures. When did the judge ask him why he was smiling? Well, his answer was, because he could. He was such a headache that on one occasion, authorities forced him to wear a spit mask during the trial, all because he spat on an attorney. Now here, he makes nonsensical accusations towards the judge and threatens him.
You're gonna find out, though. You're gonna find out real quick. Promise that.
That was certainly below the belt. And this behavior is even continuing to date. From firing his lawyers to making up things, Rhodes makes our list of most disrespectful defendants. He might serve a life sentence. This is Spencer Allen Boston. He is charged with overspeeding, disorderly conduct, and possession of marijuana. Boston approached the court to discuss his sentence, but in return, he started sharing his opinion about the drug. Well, for Boston, marijuana must be legalized for the public good. Listen to his rather comical ideas.
I think it's very unfair, the marijuana law here. I think we the people deserve better because marijuana is a very harmless drug and it's been around for ages, since the 80s and 90s.
Judge Haywood Berry tries to tell him that we all need to follow the law. And if he does not like it, Boston needs to go see the legislature to change it. As the judge interacts with the court employees to fix a trial date, Boston does something which very few had predicted. He pulls out a joint, and boom! It appears that no one has noticed it until he lights it, and immediately everyone bats an eye. Boston might have enjoyed momentary freedom, but he was taken away by the court officer. Judge Haywood calls the final shot. He slaps Boston with disorderly conduct, possession of marijuana, and contempt of court, forcing him to spend 10 days in jail. This is Michael Ray. He is facing 4 charges including criminal trespassing, second-degree assault, making terrorist threats, and failure to wear a seatbelt. You might be thinking that appearing before the court for a bond or bail hearing might be a walk in the park. But Michael learned the lesson the hard way. The prosecutor suggests that the county must receive $25,000 behind all charges. But listen carefully. Michael laughs at this. Listen again. The judge asks him if it is funny, to which he responds that it's hilarious. Wait. The judge does not like it. She adds $25,000 for Michael's sarcasm. Ray does not find it funny. He re-enters the hall and greets the judge with some below-the-belt remarks and leaves. Now she calls him back, but his brash behavior is not only that upset the judge. Ray also showed her the middle finger. She announces 30 days to serve on contempt of court, but his tirade continues. He misbehaves with other officials, and the judge adds another 70 days to his total, making 100 days to stay in jail. But Ray's angry burst wasn't quite finished. While he was being led away, he gave a physical threat to the judge. What started with 4 charges ended with 10. Ray was out of his mind. This is Tobias Roman, who is charged with attempted robbery, exhibiting a deadly weapon, and intention of terrorizing. From the beginning of his hearing, he acted weirdly. He refused to stand up because he said that his foot was hurt. Warning signs. Surely his mouth is going to land him in a troubled spot. He aggressively stands up and threatens the judge. He is now being asked some procedural questions.
What is your true and correct name?
Tobias, my first name. That's it. Giggles or Tobias. That's it. Don't call me nothing else.
And the charges, Mr. Roman, are attempted robbery.
It's all right,
Hey, Mr. Roman, you need to be quiet.
Yeah, you need to be quiet.
Mr. Giggles is slowly losing his cool. But Judge Charles Bremer is also not in the mood to listen to further nonsense. He gives Tobias a final warning. It appears that this shut-up call might stop Giggles, but he has other plans. As he is being led away, he threatens that he'll kill the judge. Tobias was guilty of threatening a public official and was sentenced to 8 months in prison. His bail was set at $182,500. This is Isaiah Gardenhire. He is in for 2 counts of second-degree murder. He sexually assaulted his girlfriend in her home and then killed her 13-year-old daughter. After his criminal act, he fled to the nearby apartment. And then, in the apartment, he took a man and woman hostage, robbed them, and took away their car. Here we are at his hearing. Honorable Justice Sarah Spencer is reading the long list of charges for his misadventures and acts of brutality. While the judge is reading, Gardenhire seems to be not interested in the hearing. He yawns not once, but twice, showing everyone that he is least bothered. But the proceedings go on despite repeated distractions by Gardenhire. While the prosecutor is telling the court about the past record of the criminal, Gardenhire calls her girlfriend a murderer for killing her daughter. And then he shows the middle finger to everyone. His mic is muted. After further discussing his bond conditions, the officials opened his mic. He seems even more disinterested, and now he shows the middle finger with both hands. Gardenhire would not be eligible for parole until he is 116 years old.